Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for the segment, we have Thomas Mack, Chief Legal Officer at Dibbs, a company focusing on the tokenization of collectibles and other physical items. Thomas, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Great to be here. Thank you.
You got it. And AI, the metaverse, autonomous vehicles, newer technologies, they're all coming, and lawmakers need to be on top of the paradigm shift. But reaching consensus and finding any sort of common ground in Washington, D.C. is virtually impossible. So, Thomas, how should legislators be approaching this?
Yeah, in a word, I would say carefully. By that, I mean by focusing on finding good answers to truly novel questions. I think there's a lot of people. So a lot of the crypto activities they're based on distributed ledgers, which are at base just a ledger. And so technological neutrality is sort of an approach to these situations where you say we're not going to prefer one technology over another, and we're going to focus on what head start we have in the law. Really often, even new activities with new technologies. Even new activities with new technologies. I'm so sorry. Even new activities with new technologies, there's usually a head start in the law because they're not brand new. And as lawmakers can use that head start to figure out how to legislate and govern new technologies.
So what's behind the concept of technological neutrality? Can it actually be achieved?
Yes, I think it can be achieved, and it's a starting point, so there's always, inevitably, there will be truly novel questions where you say, this is just new, it's net new, and we don't know what to do with it. But the idea is, again, we won't prefer one technology over another. And so we have activities that may have been around for a very long time. We may look at the existing activities and use that head start to give us, answer 90% of our questions, right, that we may have. And then from there, we focus on 10% of sort of what's left, and where we're going to focus on lawmaking and legislation on those. And so, again, there are always net new questions, but it's usually a minority.
Is President Biden's recent executive order on crypto a step in the right direction?
I think time will tell. I think that the good here is it does ask some powerful agencies, not just SEC, not just CFTC, but also Treasury, FTC, others, to take a close look at some of these things. I think Treasury's report came out last week. There's not a lot new in there, but I think we do have some other reports that'll be coming in the next couple months, and maybe some of those will break new ground. Time will tell.
What do you think is the appropriate oversight model that should be taken then?
Yeah, so obviously I kind of navigate for tech neutrality as this North Star, right? And so particularly in Web3, in crypto, where the innovation that everybody is building on top of is a ledger. It's a spreadsheet. It's like an Excel doc. At base, that's what it is. It's sort of fancy and it's different and enables new possibilities. Yeah.
So Thomas, how would this particular approach be beneficial to tech innovators and investors if you were to take more of a tech neutrality approach?
Yeah, the key thing that it does is it allows you to replace vague sort of questions about, is this high risk, is this low risk, and sort of senses that, the government hasn't moved on this yet, with targeted questions and answers, where you can say, this business is new, nobody's seen this before. What does it look like? What's out there already that looks like this? How is that regulated? Do you meet and clear the regulatory bars that are in place for that activity? What new wrinkles are introduced by your technology, and how do you mitigate the risks that are associated with those?
And finally, is there anything the industry can do to make it easier for lawmakers to collaborate on this new approach going forward?
Yeah, I think the industry can make it easier by basing innovative activities on good faith efforts to comply and identify with existing laws. So again, a good faith canvassing of, what laws are out there, what does my activity look like, and I'm going to comply with those. and then come to lawmakers with clear, discrete questions on the issues that are left. Yeah, where you are building on a spreadsheet, basically, we're sort of used to the idea that the internet is so broad in the Web 2 context. And if you were to go to a lawmaker and say, hey, I'm doing an internet business, I need a whole lot of new internet law. At this point, that's mature enough and everybody knows that you answer that question with a question. You would say, well, you're building on the internet. That's great. Well, what are you doing? Are you talking to me about privacy? Are you talking to me about e-commerce? And these are all different things. And your question of a lawmaker in those different contexts is very different. I think Web3, we're still maturing into that. We're still growing into that. So there's this idea that the technology is so new that everything is net new when it's not. And so when you say, look, we need new Web3 laws, a lawmaker understandably doesn't quite know what to do with that. But I think if as an industry, we do a better job of identifying these truly new things and then coming to them with the discrete questions that we have, I think we're going to get better answers and better results.
All right, Thomas, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks, Jill.